Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel, Say What's Real TV. We are finally back. Our girl Jax is back and we love to see it. Here with the review for Hulu's Reasonable Doubt. This is season 3, episode 1, Feeling It. So in the opening of this episode, I get season 1 vibes. We get a scene with Jax. She's knocking on the door and looks like in her house. She goes in the room and whoever she sees in there apparently is in distress. They're unalive or they're unconscious. Something tragically has happened to this person because she is frantic. She's crying. She's calling out for help. Then we go back 6 months earlier from that scene. We see Jax doing her usual morning routine where she gets up and goes for a run. And when she gets back to shower, unlike season 1 when she's pleasing herself, we see her and Lewis in the shower engaging. And that lets us know that they are in a better place here in season 3. We see Naima, she's getting big and tall, she's on her way to school, and she is sick and tired of watching her parents with their public displays of affection constantly. She says she'd rather be where Spencer is, and we believe Spencer is off to the performing arts school that he got accepted into last season. So in the finale of season 2, Lewis and Jax were served papers because Tony was suing the both of them because of the loss of Jaden, the baby her and Lewis shared. So here we are a year later, they're still dealing with this lawsuit. So they're in mediation and come to find out, Tony wants like $750,000 and wants them to admit wrongdoing in the loss of her child. And of course, Jax isn't having it. It was a no for her. She takes over. They actually have a lawyer and he really wants to do his job, but Jax is so controlling. She wants to win. She wants to control the situation. She gets into it with the lawyer and she ends up firing him. But Benjamin, he didn't give a damn. He said that was the best news he ever had, to be released from Jax and her claws because he was tired. And then we find out that he was the third lawyer that has been on this case. So I don't know why they are dragging this thing out. So Lewis tells Jax, like, you might as well represent us in this case yourself. Like, you taking over. And she's like, oh, well, you know, I don't have time for that. Can't nobody tell because you're making it your business to intervene like you're running the show. So, I mean, Jax just wants a win over Tony because Tony hunched her husband and had a baby. She's going to go the distance until she can't go anymore, thinking Tony is going to cave. And apparently Tony is up for the challenge and is just as stubborn as Jax because it's given if she can't have Lewis, she is going to get something for her pain and suffering, and it's not going to be what Jax wants it to be. So Jax gets an alert on her phone that Corey is being honored for the work he did in Chanel's case last season. So she heads to work, and when she gets there, she checks in with Crystal and Daniel. She basically lets them know that she's getting a little tired and bored with the civil cases. She needs a little action. She needs a little bang bang. She's looking for one of her high-profile celebrities to come through with a criminal case, and as the saying goes, be careful what you ask for. So Jax get into this meeting with the other partners and they're talking to her about this case that the guy pled out and they lost a lot of billable hours. So the head guy was like, hopefully you'll make it up by the next quarter. And with extreme confidence, she tells him, don't worry, I will, because I know how much you guys depend on me to keep the lights on up in this piece. They all sit there in this awkward silence because I guess they don't know when she's joking and when she's for real. And she was for real because they know Jax is the best up in there. She keeps things moving and shaking and gets her job done like she needs to get it done. So that's why I feel they tolerate her, but they don't want her there quiet as it's kept. They're trying to do any and everything they can to get somebody in there that can be just as good as her or better so they can find a way to push her out. They tried it with Corey last season and it didn't work, which brings me to the next subject in their meeting. The head guy brings up Bill Sterling, who they're trying to see if he can become partner. So Jax tells them that Bill has only been here for 6 years and it actually took her 8. But we all know that it takes us. We have to work a lot harder to get the things that we want, but they're willing to let him slide right on in at 6. And in addition to that, Jax reminds them that he has this blemish on his thing for something that happened a couple of years back. So flat out, she says he's not ready. So now everybody is looking crazy in the face, but they cannot stand the fact that Jax actually has some say-so in this decision. So in the next scene, we see her meet up with a Hollywood child star by the name of Ozzy, his agent Monica, and his dad Sal, which is his manager. So Monica tells Jax that the reason for this meeting is Ozzy has this opportunity to become a big-time movie star, and they wanted to try to get in front of things and clean up some of his personal issues so that it doesn't hinder him going forward and mess up his chances. So Jax wanted to know what kind of personal matters, and Monica tells her that he's been having relations with a particular stylist. So Jax suggested that they just have her sign an NDA and offer her some compensation, and Ozzy shut all of that down and said he'll think about it, leaving his dad and Monica over there heated because they want it signed like ASAP. Now, is it me, or does it seem like Monica and Sal are over there hunching? Because they look like more of a couple than him and Rosie. So Jax, she gets home and she tells Louis that she kind of feels sorry for Ozzy because it seems like he never really had a choice to make his decisions in life, and it reminded her of Spencer and wonder if they're doing the right thing by sending him to this performing arts school. And Louis had to let her know that was a choice he made. He wanted to go there. She tells Louis about the award ceremony and that she really doesn't want to go, but she feels like since he invited her, that would be the right thing to do. So then after all of that, she wanted to know where her daughter was, and Louis told her that she was over there at Hattie's house, and they should be grateful that Tony hasn't told Hattie about the baby yet. And I'm a little confused about what part doesn't Hattie know about, because clearly she should know her mom was pregnant, and this has been over a year ago, so what are we talking about? So Jax gets in her feelings because she feels like Louis is always taking up for Tony and never has anything bad to say. He says, look, I'm not. She's just had a bad year and that she just wants what they have. So she asks him, what do we have? He says, I can show you better than I can tell you. And he shows her the way as they hunch all over the house. So in the next scene, we see Jax arriving at the award ceremony in her nice Kelly green dress fitting her to a T. She gets to the top of the escalator and oh baby, there is Corey Cash looking oh so good in that white suit against that chocolate skin. But anyway, they get inside and they chalk it up a bit, and we find out a few things about Corey. He's still in Chicago doing his thing. He has a big case coming up. Him and Brandy Michaels, the doctor that helped him in the case with Chanel, those two are still together. He just closed on a house, and apparently he's in love with Brandy because he's looking forward to making her Mrs. Cash one day soon, apparently taking his dad's advice. Do you guys think that Jax is bothered that he's in love with Brandy and moving on? So as they're talking, Ozzy comes up behind to introduce himself to Cash, and he says, "Pow, pow, gotcha. I already know who you are. I'm familiar." So Cash attempted to introduce Ozzy to Jax, and Jax was going to say, "We've already met," but Ozzy cut her off real fast, like, "Please, hush your mouth. I don't know you." But Jax, she read the room, and she played along with his little crazy tale. So when Wendy started running off at her mouth, Jax put two and two together and realized what was going on. So after Corey receives the award, he lets Jax know that it belongs to her just as much as it does for him, and she thanks him for that as she watches the interactions between Ozzy and Wendy and how Monica is utterly disgusted by the both of them looking at Sal. So later on, Jax runs into Ozzy over at the bar, and he tells her that things are complicated and she wanted to know how so. But of course, his lips were tight, and she suggested that they play this little drinking game. So Jax tells him if she guesses right, then he has to take a shot. And he was up for the challenge, so he ordered a shot of peanut butter whiskey. So Jax just basically said that his black fan base would not appreciate him showing up on the red carpet with white-ass Wendy the stylist that's 10 years older than him because she's not it. So he pushes the drink towards her like, "You take the shot." She says, "I'm not wrong." He says, "You are about the last part because she is it and I love her." So Jax tells him the relationship that she had with her father and how he wanted her to be a lawyer so bad, all while he's running around being on crack and being a pookie. So she tells him that she became a lawyer for herself and wanted to know when was the last time he did something for himself instead of doing what everybody else around him wants him to do. So he tells her if he doesn't eat, nobody eats. He's not an individual, he's a corporation. Basically, everybody depends on him. So he wanted to know exactly what he should do about that, and she tells him, if you think that Wendy is using you, have her sign the NDA and keep on pushing. But if you really feel that she loves you, then tell everybody else to go F off. So she gave him her card and told him to call her if things got messy, and she took the shot of peanut butter whiskey and told him she took the shot because she wanted to, but she still was right. So we get this real quick scene with Lewis interviewing a black coder named Sam from Jersey. They seem to have a lot in common. Lewis is pleased with his credentials, and he takes him to meet the rest of the team. Now, with them just randomly introducing Sam in the middle of the episode like that, I don't know if they're just trying to give Lewis a friend, a confidant, somebody he can go and talk to when need be, or Sam is going to play a major part in a storyline later on down the line. So in the next scene, we see Jax and Lewis out at a restaurant, and he's telling Jax all about the new black coder and how excited he is about it because now he has someone in there that he can relate to, and how it would be nice to have a friend at work, and he lets her know that she is his best friend, and Jax is shocked and appalled. So they start kissing on each other and making their own little toast, enjoying each other's company, minding their own business, when some guy named Michael Johnson from another law firm comes up talking to Jax. All of a sudden, here comes Tony out of the blue, and they're looking like, what the hell? Apparently, those two were out on some kind of date, and he says, oh, you know each other. She says, yes, they unalived my child. I'm like, girl, go sit down. But Jax, she got it together real quick and spilled the tea to Michael, telling how she running around there sleeping with married men and women, and advised Michael to use protection because he don't know what could be swirling around up in that swamp of hers. And then the whole time you got Lewis sitting up there looking like he is so embarrassed, like he want to just run and hide up under a rock. He better be glad that's all it was, because it could have been straight fist to face. So Tony says, F you, Jax, and Jax replied, you already have. So when Jax and Lewis get home, they get into it. He claims he's so embarrassed that he wants to be able to go back to the restaurant one day and wants to know why Jax can't just ignore Tony. But sir, why should she have to ignore Tony? She was there minding her business, enjoying your company when Tony came up to your table saying what she said all loud and proud. You don't have a problem with what Tony said, but you get mad at what Jax said? Why? Lewis is mad because his business got put out there on Front Street and he doesn't want everybody to know he was cheating on his wife. So then he turns around and admits to being ashamed of it all. The reason that they're going through this is because of him, and that he should have gone to Jaden's funeral to give Tony the closure she was looking for. And I guess he was trying to say when Jax reads her for filth, making her feel bad, it just reminds him that he messed up. So Jax tells him that it's not his fault, and I'm like, the hell it ain't, but whatever. She says that she's just scared that some way, somehow, Tony is going to come between the two of them again. And he vows that that's not going to happen. He chooses her, he loves her, despite her Virgo ways. So after all of that, Lewis still wanted Jax to slob on his knob because he said she was talking all that big Willie talk earlier that night. Jax flat out told him it's a no for me, dog, and went in the other room and closed the door. Now he's saying we gotta hurry up and fix this Tony-ish. Like, why does it take her not pleasing you to want to hurry up and fix it? So in the next scene, we go to the law firm and we meet Bill Sterling, played by Joseph Sikora, a.k.a. Tommy Cancel Christmas on That Ass Egan. So he meets up with Steven and Vince, and they basically let him know that they're not going to be able to make him partner just yet, but they do give him all the props for making them a lot of money. It's just going to take a little more time. So he thought about it and he asked them what can he do to make it happen sooner than later. So they pull him in and they close the door to give him some tips on how to fast track becoming partners sooner and sucking up to Jax. So we see Ozzy go over to his parents' house and his dad, Sal, is asking him what is he doing there. Rosie says, our son doesn't need a reason to come here. I'm like, well, do they not get along, or is this not his biological son? They don't seem to have a real close relationship. So Ozzy tells both parents that he needs to talk to them, and he's made a decision he's not going to make Wendy sign this NDA. So Rosie looks at no backbone having Sal and asks him to leave the room so she can talk to Orcel. And I'm like, well, where they do that at? If this is his daddy, he should want to be there to hear what the hell going on. Which tells us all we need to know, that Miss Rosie is wearing all the pants up in that house. So then she tries to lay this guilt trip on Ozzy, telling him, after all I've done for you, you're trying to ruin my life. He's like, I'm not trying to ruin your life. I'm well aware of what you and Dad have done for me. So pretty much taking the advice that Jax gave him at the award ceremony, he lets her know that her and Sal are fired as his management team. And for the final blow, he tells her he's not doing the movie either. She was like, what? You not doing the movie either? And he starts speaking French like, we this, we that, we. She said, who the F is we? So he tells her, me and Wendy. And she couldn't do nothing but laugh right in his face like, child, please. You can tell he felt some kind of way about it. But Rosie, she didn't give a damn. She started calling Wendy a cradle-robbing cougar and a cum-guzzling snow bunny. I'm like, damn. She had to let it be known once again how much her and Sal had to sacrifice for him over the years. And if he just wants to kick them to the curb, go ahead and do that. But before he puts a ring on Wendy's finger, there's something he should know. So in the very next scene, we see Ozzy confront Wendy with whatever it was his mom told him. Why they didn't tell us what it was is beyond me, because I would love to know. So she's over there talking about, oh, I can't believe you believe them, blah, blah, blah. But girl, you didn't say whether it was true or not, yay or nay. So she tries to be slicker than a can of oil by, oh, do you even love me? Girls, that's an old trick. But anyway, he falls for it a little bit, but they still hollering back and forth. He's like, oh, you can't just treat me like some little ninja on the street. I'm Ozzy Edwards. She said, I don't give a damn who you are. I'm not one of the little Instagram bees that be in your DM. She continues on by calling him delusional because she says he can't recognize that his parents is manipulating him. And I'm like, pot meets kettle, because you are currently manipulating him right now in his face. What is the answer to the question he asked you? Is it true or is it not, Slick? She tries to give him these crocodile tears and tells him she loves him all dramatically and says if he doesn't get his act together, he's gonna lose her forever. And she storms off towards her car. He's screaming to the top of his lungs like, where are you going? I'm not through with you, Wendy. And he chases behind her and they fade to black. And we still don't know what the mother told him. And whatever Rosie said Wendy did, she did that ish. So back over there at the law firm, Bill invites himself to go with Jax wherever she's going for lunch. So they're sitting down talking and he brings up being partner. She basically lets him know that he does have the potential. He just needs some criminal cases under his belt and it's going to take a little time. So she asks him like, you've only been here 6 years, so what is the rush? And it seems like he was getting ready to tell her what it really was. But he paused and hesitated and told her he felt like he had what it takes to be a partner just like the rest of them. So then he gets real slick and he pulls a Tommy move. He asks Jax, does she have a family? She tells him yes, and he says, so do I, and pulls his phone out to show her pictures of his family. We see that he has a black wife. And Jax, she doesn't shy away from asking him about it, saying, I didn't know you had a black wife. And Billy Tommy knew what he was doing because he knew that if Jax knows his wife is black, she would kind of warm up to him knowing he's not against her as a black woman. So we see Jax and Lewis meet up with Tony's attorney and they're ready to settle and get this thing over with. Her lawyer tells them that now the terms have changed. It has now been bumped up to $1.5 million and Tony wants the disparaging and confidentiality of the clauses removed from the agreement, and then has the audacity to say that now she feels threatened because Jax intimidated her while she was on a date. Really, Tony? So Jax asked the attorney her honest opinion on what this really is about, because clearly it's not about Jaden's death. And they want to know, what is it going to take to finally end this? Her attorney says that she is wounded and she's angry and she just needs closure. So Lewis suggests that he's just going to talk to her without any lawyers present. So in the next scene, we go down to the police station where we see Nisha, which is Wendy's friend, making a police report saying that she's been missing since the day before. While the cop is being real nonchalant and really couldn't give a damn, she's trying to tell her, look, Wendy would not miss a shoot. That's just not how she is. She's going to be there no matter what, rain, sleet, or snow, right? So when she's given the description and she says that Wendy is white, now the cop wants to pay attention. So when the cop asks her, was she the last one to see Wendy, she says no, her boyfriend was, which how do you know that? And says that when she called Ozzy, he told her he didn't know and he didn't care. So next thing you know, we see Ozzy talking to the cops. So he comes in the door skinning and grinning because he is Ozzy Edwards. And, they know him, they recognize him, and they dapping it up, pow, pow, gotcha in him. But in the grand scheme of things, what does that mean when a black man is dating a white woman and she's missing? So all that pretty much went out the window. So they tell him that Nisha told them about a tracker that was in her purse, that they've located her purse and phone somewhere on the side of the highway. And he's like, oh, okay, Wendy does a lot of weird stuff when she's mad. So once he says that, they basically low-key turn this whole thing around and point the finger at him, asking him why he didn't report it and does he have an alibi for last night. And he's sitting there looking stupid, and now he doesn't want to talk anymore. And then we see Jax getting a phone call damn near in the middle of the night because he done used her card because things are now messy and he needs her help. A hard head will make a soft ass every time. So Jax, she gets up out of her bed and goes over there to Ozzy's house, and Corey is over there and she's like, well, what memo did I miss? He claims he called Corey first and Corey didn't answer and then called her. So while he's explaining, Jax learns that he talked to the cops already without an attorney, so she wants to know what did he tell them. So she asks Corey to give them a minute, and Ozzy goes to explain why Corey was there, and Jax basically didn't give a damn. When it comes to the optics in this situation, you're going to need a black female attorney. So she's asking him, what did you tell the cops? He said the truth. And Jax asked him the same questions he said the cops asked him, like, have you not tried to call her or look for her? And he told her no. And at this point, Jax is kind of giving him the side eye, and his phone rings. He says that it's his dad, and he has to go and take the call and went into the next room. And I question, why did he have to go into the next room to talk to his dad? Jax tells Corey, considering the situation, this is already a hot mess, and they're going to have a search warrant for him by the end of the week. Ozzy comes back out and he wants to know what the plan is. Jax was like, well, are you officially retaining me as your attorney? He says yes. So she gives him the rundown on what he needs to be looking forward to and asks, is there anyone that he trusts that can stay with him? And he said his sister Christian. And she tells him the situation is only going to get worse, so he better rest up. So the next morning, we see Jax letting Daniel know that Ozzy Edwards is now their client, and she's giving him the rundown on the case of what's going on so far, and needs for him to get with his sources over at LAPD and check for any exclusive hotels or Airbnbs that Wendy may have checked into. So Bill pretty much got his foot in the door because Jax then goes to his office and thanks him for the lunch date and offers him to help her out on the Ozzy case. So of course he thinks that's great. He makes some suggestions about going to the coroner's office to get ahead of the game, and she welcomes him to the team. But then he comes from out of his office to go and look in the direction of Steven and Vince and gives them the look of whatever they schemed up, it worked. And you hear mask off in the background, so we still got to keep our good eye on Billy Tommy. Lewis runs into Tony and asks her, can they talk? We then get a news report going, and they're talking about Wendy being missing and what's going on in that case. And as that's playing in the background, we see Ozzy. He's in his bathroom, and he's in the mirror, and we see all these scratches on his chest, trying to allude to him being into a scuffle with Wendy. And he starts screaming to the top of his lungs like he done lost his mind. So we go over there to Jax. She's just getting home and she sits down and Lewis is drinking. He done pulled out the good stuff. So she's like, it must be some good news or bad news. And he says that is both. He says that Tony, after talking to her, she will drop the lawsuit, but only under one condition. And it's if he spends one night with her. And Jax looked at him crazy. I looked at him crazy. Jax curses real loud in frustration. And that's where the episode ends. Woo, child. They are coming in hot and got it going on already. One thing's for certain and two things for sure, and that is Tony done lost her rabbit-ass mind. Drop down in the comments and let me know if you would be okay if your significant other spent the night with their side piece just to get a lawsuit dropped. Tuh. No, ma'am. When it comes to Ozzy and Wendy being missing, I would be surprised if he actually had something to do with it. I'm really hoping he doesn't, because then it will remind me of season 1 when Braden actually was the one who unalived Kalisha. I have my good eye on Nisha because I felt like she was being very performative at the police station, trying to make sure she threw Ozzy under the bus. And another thing, does Wendy know she had a tracker in her purse? Or did you place it? That's why you know who she last saw, this and that and the other. I just felt like she was talking too much. I also have my good eye on Sal, who they want us to think is nice and quiet and in the background being handpicked by Rosie, but all the while in the background doing the most. He probably was messing with Wendy, if you ask me. Drop down in the comments and let me know who you guys think is responsible for Wendy's disappearance. And who did Jack see when she walked in the bedroom and started screaming frantically? My prediction on who that could be is Jax's father. Let's get these predictions popping. Let's talk about it. And as always, you guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.